What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and I am back with more Ghosts of Saltmarsh content. Sorry for the delay on this. Time just gets away from me so quick these days, so I'm trying to get as much content out here as I can. So we're going to talk about the magic items in Ghosts of Saltmarsh. So if you don't know what, or don't want to have those spoiled for you, look away. If not, stay tuned. All right, so I guess I should point out that I do have a physical copy of the book. It was a gift in the swag bags from D&D Live 2019. But here it is. I did get a YouTube comment saying that they weren't going to watch any of my reviews because I was reviewing the content on D&D Beyond. But when I used that, then you can actually see what I'm talking about rather than me sitting here and reading a book and trying to do one of these things where I hold it up to the screen like I've done in the past. So I have the book. It's $49.95. As far as I can tell thus far, the binding is okay. But as we know, when it comes to Wizards of the Coast stuff more recently, the binding is kind of garbage. But as of right now, I can flip through this whole book and it doesn't come apart, which I can't remember one of my books in the process of actually doing the review of it, it started to fall apart. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about magic items. There's not a whole lot. And I'm sorry, I should clarify, when I say magic items, I mean new magic items that are from this book. So if you're unfamiliar, right, there's the standard set of magic items that are included in the Dungeon Master's Guide. A couple common magic items also added in Xanathar's Guide. And then each campaign setting, not necessarily everyone, but most campaign settings include their own list of unique campaign magic items. So we're going to go over the 5 or 6 that are contained here in Ghosts of Saltmarsh. So there's the Charm of Plant Command. Rare item, requires attunement. Fist-sized charm is made of a bundle of dried plant stems wrapped in silver thread. Has 3 charges. While you bear the charm, you can spend 1 charge as an action to cast the Speak with Plant spell. For the duration of the spell, you also have advantage on charisma checks made to influence the behavior, demeanor, and attitude of plants. This charm regains all spended charges each day, or at dawn each day. See, it's usually each day at dawn, but they made it at dawn each day, so that's a little weird. But I do like this piece here, right? This is the adventure, right? Ghosts of Saltmarsh is a collection of adventures, as we talked about in the first video. So this shows you what adventure it's contained in. Cursed Luckstone requires attunement, uncommon. Flat gray and black river stone inscribed with an unknown arcane symbol and feels cold to the touch. While carrying the stone, you gain advantage on 1 ability check of your choice. The stone can't be used this way again until the next dawn. Okay, so advantage on 1 ability check. This item is cursed. Attuning to it curses you until you get the remove curse spell or something similar. As long as you remain cursed, you cannot discard the stone, which immediately teleports back into your pocket or pack. After you use... Oh, here's what it is. After you use the stone's magic, your next 2 ability checks are made with disadvantage. The Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. So this one... Alright, so I guess I should talk, right? The first one... Speak with Plants is useful when you need it. I mean, again, if you're in the ocean, right, you could talk to seaweed. And you can have advantage on charisma checks to influence their behavior, but they are still plants. Like, they don't have... I mean, I guess that could work for something like maybe like a shambling mound or some sort of more intelligent plant creature. But I don't know how much influence you're really going to change like a tree or a bush. Cursed Luckstone. Meh. I mean, I guess it's called the Cursed Luckstone, so if you go to give somebody the item as it's described, you're going to be like, here you go, here's the Cursed Luckstone. People may decide, like, you know what? I'm not going to attune to the Cursed Luckstone. Sounds like not a good time. So you may have to just call it the Luckstone, but there's already an item called the Luck Stone, or the Stone of Good Luck, so that could get confusing. But advantage on 1 ability check, and then disadvantage on 2. This says an ability check of your choice, and then disadvantage on just the next 2 ability checks you make, period. Helm of Underwater Action. Uncommon requires attunement. While wearing this brass helmet, you can breathe underwater, gain dark vision with a range of 60 feet, and gain a swim speed of 30 feet. And this is in Dangers of Dunwater and Tamarot's Fate. So this is a little weird, right? Because things like the Mariner's Armor, right? Like that will give you a swim speed. And I think there are some other items that also give you the ability to breathe underwater. And then there's also like the Goggles of Night, which provide you dark vision. So this is an issue that I think comes up with a lot of folks when they realize it, right? So you could be a race, like say a Triton or a Water Genasi. You have a swim speed, you have the ability to breathe underwater, but you don't have dark vision. So technically, if you swam deep enough down into the ocean, you wouldn't be able to see anything. Theoretically, this rectifies that, which I guess is the justification for it being attunement, because it gives you the benefits of 2 non-attunement items all in one. I'm okay with this. You know what? The only problem with it being attunement is it's not like it's something you could pop on when you need it and pop off. You kind of have to have it on you and attuned. I mean, I guess you can plan that out, but like if you're like, oh shit, we're gonna have to dive underwater, I wasn't expecting that, let me just pop on my helm and go do it. You have to pop it on and then wait an hour and then go do it. Again, not the worst thing in the world. All right, Pipe of Remembrance is a common magic item. I love common magic items. They remind me very much of trinkets, or at least the trinkets that I use in my game a lot. So they're usually something really cool and unique, and it's not really game-breaking to give it to your players. This long, delicate wooden pipe features a bowl made from smooth riverstone. When the pipe is lit, smoke exhaled from it does not dissipate, instead lingering around the bearer. After 10 minutes, the smoke forms moving shapes that reenact the bearer's most impressive and heroic feats for 5 minutes. When this realistic performance is complete, the smoke dissipates. The pipe can't be used again until the next dawn. See? Until the next dawn. Well, that's at dawn each day. Either way, this is a badass magical item. I love this. I will absolutely be adding this into at least one of my games. I have one of my players has a sword that talks and tells the character's greatest achievements if they ask it to. This is kind of cool though, because instead of doing that, it's silent, but you get to see the interactions from the smoke of the pipe. And non-attunement. So great. Also from Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. Pressure Capsule. This is a common magic item. The small capsule is made of beeswax, blended with sand and a variety of enchanted water plants. Creature consumes the pressure capsule, ignores the effects of swimming at depths greater than 100 feet. Which is here in the unusual environments section. Which we go here. Swimming through deep water is similar to traveling at high altitudes. For a creature without a swim speed, each hour spent swimming at a depth greater than 100 feet counts as 2 hours for the purposes of determining exhaustion. Swimming for an hour at a depth greater than 200 feet counts as 4 hours. So up here it says, right, you can't swim for a full 8 hours a day. After each hour of swimming, a character must succeed on a DC 10 Constitution saving throw or gain 1 level exhaustion. Unless aided by magic, can't swim for a full 8 hours a day. For without a swimming speed, each hour spent swimming at a depth greater. So I don't know if this is saying after 8 hours. This is after each hour of swimming. And then here it says for, I don't know. I'm just trying to, like, the wording here is a little weird. For a creature without a swim speed, each hour spent swimming at a depth greater than 100 feet counts as 2 hours for the purposes of determining exhaustion. Unless this is saying, like, this is what I'm getting, but it seems like it's worded a little weird. So, a character can't swim for a full 8 hours per day. After each hour of swimming, a character must succeed on a DC 10 Constitution saving throw or gain 1 level of exhaustion. Creature that has a swim speed, including a character with a ring of swimming, which is not attunement like we were talking about. Can swim all day without penalty and uses the normal forced march rules. So the way I'm reading all of these together is after 8 hours, you start rolling every hour, but this also is worded like it sounds like after each individual hour, you also roll. Because I'm not sure why. So if it was after 8 hours you have to start rolling, that means if you're down 100 feet, it'll happen in half the time and a quarter of the time if it's under 200. So I'm not entirely sure how that works, but either way, the pressure capsule lets you ignore that from anything greater than 100 feet. And that is again in Tamarot's Fate. And the last magic item, that's it guys, we're on one more and we're done. Sicolian Worshipping Statuette. Common. This is a weird one. Skillfully carved from sandstone, this 1 foot tall statuette depicts a shark twisting through the water with its mouth open. If any tiny sea-dwelling animal is within 1 inch of the statuette's mouth, the shark flashes to life and deals 1 piercing damage to it. The shark can deal damage in this way no more than once per hour. This is from the adventure The Final Enemy. I mean, it's a common magic item, right? So take that with a grain of salt, right? It's not going to be game-breaking or anything crazy, but it just seems dumb. Like, maybe I'm missing something, and I didn't fully read the adventure, so maybe I definitely am. So any sea-dwelling animal, I feel like they probably should have said beast, because then you can get into the argument, is a monstrosity an animal? Is a humanoid an animal? Is a fiend an animal? Right, in the real world, right, we know that, and what is classified in the animal kingdom is an animal, right, not including things like plants or fungus and that kind of a thing. But in D&D, we have subclasses. So, like, for instance, an animal companion is always a beast. So my assumption is it means any tiny sea-dwelling beast, but maybe I'm just splitting hairs here. So you have your little statue. If it's presumably in the water, and a tiny sea-dwelling animal moves within 1 inch of the statue's mouth, the statue bites them for 1 point of damage, and then it needs to wait an hour before it can do it again. I was just trying to think like if you could use this as like a fishing reel, or like a lure rather, but like it doesn't latch on, so it's not like you'd be better off with a fish hook. So, I mean, you could troll with it, right? And I don't mean like the internet version of troll. I mean like the fishing term where you throw it out the back of the boat on a string and the boat is going and this is kind of pulling behind you. It's called trolling. And like if something gets close to it, it'll bite them for 1 point of damage. But if you're trolling, then you lost whatever it was. It also means that whatever you're trying to get with this has to have like 1 hit point to make this truly a viable, useful thing for that. I mean, it also could be a really annoying way to like piss off your party, push it next to them, but they're technically not sea-dwelling, and they're not tiny, so that the tiny part gets rid of it. So I'm assuming any tiny sea-dwelling animal will have about 1 hit point, but does sea-dwelling mean that it lives in the sea permanently? What's the definition of sea-dwelling? There's too many caveats and loopholes in this item. It's also a common magic item that does 1 point of damage once per hour, so I'm probably going a little overboard for nothing. But that's it, guys. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new magic items in Ghosts of Saltmarsh. 3 of them are common, and 1 of them is cursed. What do you guys think? And again, I should point out that that's not necessarily the only magic items contained in here. There are other magic items in these books that exist from the Dungeon Master's Guide and thing like that. But those are the 5 or 6 unique magic items to just this campaign. I could take it or leave it. There's a lot, like, I mean, I would use Tales from the Yawning Portal as an example of as a comparison, since it's a similar adventure, but it was several very popular dungeons from D&D years past, so that had a ton of badass magic items. You had legendary magic items. You may have even had an artifact in there, but a lot of really cool, unique magic items, like that one version of the Berserker Axe, which is an item in the Dungeon Master's Guide. In there, they gave you a whole bunch of spells. Super cool. This we've got the Cursed Luck Stone and the Helm of Underwater Action. I don't know. I don't think it's anything to write home about, but don't let that spoil your thoughts on the entire book as a whole. Again, I haven't read through every adventure from start to finish, so I can't actually speak to how well that is. But I do think that the ship rules are really good, and there are some pretty cool monsters. So the next video we're going to go over is the monsters, and depending on when I release these, the ship rules video may have already come out, but this one was a little bit shorter, so... Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.